Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Shri Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna Mataji, welcome on. Thank you so much for your association, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
Hare Krishna, Anuradha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada. This is Preeti Vilasini Devidasi from California. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for your association. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anuradha Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karna Devidasi from Link.
Hare Krishna, Indu Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your association. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna, is there anybody else who would like to introduce themselves? Okay, if there is nobody else, we'll go ahead. Today we're very fortunate to have Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji on the topic of Sri Caitanya Bhagavata. And thank you, Kirtida Mataji, so much for enlightening us on this beautiful, beautiful topic. And we are really, really looking forward for your nectarian class. Please take over, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Anuradha Mataji, for the very, very kind, warm welcome. And thank you each and every one of you for joining us today for this Caitanya Bhagavat session. I hope I'm able to do some justice to this wonderful scripture. I really have no qualification even to enter into it, but taking it as a service, I accepted. So thank you everyone for joining. So we'll start now. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamini. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. As I said, I really have no qualification to enter into this vast subject matter, which is really like an ocean. And I could feel that actually I was feeling that Chaitanya Charitamrita was difficult for a person like me to understand. But when all of your association, we were able to complete Chaitanya Charitamrita. And now this Caitanya Bhagavat is looking like a bigger ocean than that of Chaitanya Charitamrita. But hopefully with all your association, with the mercy of all our Guru Vargas and our previous Acharyas, hopefully we can dive deep into this ocean and be able to cross it. So I really request all the prayers, blessings and wishes from each and every one of you, because today the subject matter is really tough for a person like me. But I request all your prayers, blessings and wishes so that I may speak something relevant as per in alliance to our previous acharyas, in alliance to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, to Srila Prabhupada, and may be able to convey the right message. So please shower your heartfelt prayers, blessings and wishes. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu vaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So we'll start with the Mangalacharan and then we'll move forward to the verses. आजानुलंबिता कर आजानुलंबिता भुजौ कनुकावधातौ संकीर्तनैका पितरौ कमलयताक्षौ विश्वम्भरो द्विजवरौ युगधर्मपालौ वन्दे जगत्प्रिया करौ करुणावतारौ जयति जयति देवा कृष्ण चैतन्य चन्द्रो जयति जयति कीर्तिस्तस्य नित्या पवित्रा जयति जयति भृत्यास्तस्य विशेषमूर्ते जयति जयति नृत्यं तस्य सर्वप्रियाणाम्. And we'll try to offer our prayers to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. You all know that this verse was composed by His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu, and he allowed us that every session we can glorify Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur. Shri Vrindavan Dasakyas Chaitanya Charitanuga Srimad Vrindavane Sapyam Vidhattau Ratim Sada. The devotee named Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur is a devoted follower of the character of Shri Chaitanya. May he always bestow deep attraction towards Shri Vrindavan for all of us. Okay, so we will begin our Caitanya Bhagavata now. Okay, and I hope everybody has a PDF version or a book in front of them, so I don't need to share. But if you, any point of time, if you feel that I should share, then just unmute or write it in the chat box. I'll definitely share it. So we'll start. So we are right now in chapter 1 of Caitanya Bhagavata, which is Adi Khanda of Adi Khanda, chapter 1. And today we'll do from verse number 65 onwards, but we'll also touch base upon verse number 64. So I'll go with 64 first. Sheshabai samsarera gati nahi ara anantera name sarva jivera udhara. So what Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, that Lord Ananta is known as Shesha, the unlimited end, because he alone ends our passage through this material world, and by chanting his glories, everyone can be liberated. So Lord Anantadev, he is known as Shesha. Do you know what's the meaning of Shesha? Let's keep this call a little interactive today. And, if we can just give the permission for everyone to unmute, that will be great.
Shesha means someone who remains, who is always there.
Remainder.
Yes.
Let's not go into the philosophical part.
Yes.
But the word Shesha means right? Suppose if you divide 20 by 3, so you get some remainder, right? So that is how the remainder is. But if you divide 20 by 4, so it's 4 5s are 20. The remainder is 0. But if you divide any number which is not in alliance to that table, then you'll definitely get some remainder. And that is what is Shesha, means something that is remaining. Now this Anantadev, he is serving the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, who is the Swayam Bhagavan, and unlimitedly he is serving. And not only he, but many of his devotees are serving him. But something that is left, what other devotees cannot serve, is what our Ananta Shesh serve. And therefore he is known as Ananta Shesha. For example, when Lord Ramachandra when he went, incognito, after coming back from Sri Lanka, he came back to Ayodhya Dham. He was coronated. And as a king, incognito, he would roam around at night to see the welfare, the well-being of his citizens. And he heard one of the men calling out to his wife that I am not Ram, that I'm going to accept you. Lord Ram can accept Sita, even though she remained in Sri Lanka for 1 year at the place of Ravana. I'm not the one who's going to accept you. Hearing this, Lord Ram said that, okay, now is the time that I should leave Mother Sita. So Lord himself cannot do this job, right? So whom he called upon? He called upon Lakshman. And who is Lakshman? He is Anantashesh. He is the Balaram, right? He called upon Lakshman and said, you do this job. So whatever job which is not fulfilled by Lord himself, he calls upon his servant Anantashesh to fulfill it. Another example, Jagai Madai pastime. If we see, it was so difficult for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to liberate Jagai and Madai. He couldn't do it. Madai, he literally hit the dear servant, the dearmost servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Nityananda. And it was so difficult for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give mercy to Madai. But whom he called upon? Nityananda. Nityananda Prabhu was the one who said, okay, please, Lord, forgive them. You are here not to kill the sin, not to kill the sinner, but to kill the sin in the heart of all of them. So it's because of Nityananda Prabhu that Jagai and Madai got mercy. So whatever is not even fulfilled by the Lord himself, he appoints his dearmost servant to fulfill that task. And so he is known as Shesha, Ananta Shesha, unlimited. Now, what is this unlimited? That I gave the first example. If you divide 20 by 3, right? So what do you get? The remainder that you get. And if you put a decimal, I know this is not a mathematics class, but if you put decimal, then it comes 0.3333333, and it's unlimited. It's unlimited, right? So this is what the position of Ananta is. He is serving the Supreme Lord in Ananta form. Ananta means Ananta. We cannot even comprehend with our conditioned mind. And whatever is left, he is carrying forward. He is taking care of all those services. And therefore, he is known as Anantashesh. But Vrindavan Das Thakur is writing that he alone is the one who is going to take us back to the material world. So that means Nityananda Prabhu, that means Balaram Tattva, that means Anantashesh. They all actually are in a Guru form, Guru Tattva. As a Guru Tattva, they come, they help us so that we understand the real position of them. We understand our relationship with Krishna. We act upon it and finally wind up our business of this material world and go back home, back to God. This is what Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying. Now the name, like we called upon, Balaram, Nityananda, Anantashesh, these are the 3 different names of the same personality. That also we have to understand. So what he's saying, that if by any chance, if we can get to chant their glories, then Sarva Jivera Uddhar, then we will be able to, then everyone can be liberated and we can be able to cross over this unsurmountable material existence. Let's move forward. Ananta Prithvi Giri Samudra Sahite Ye Prabhu Dharena Shire Palana Karite. On his head, Ananta Prithvi Giri Samudra Sahite. On his head, Ananta Dev is sustained the entire universe with his millions of planets containing enormous oceans and mountains. Let's do one more and then we'll come back to this verse also. Sahasra Phanara Eka Phane Bindu Yena Ananta Vikrama Na Janena Achehena. Sahasra Phanara. Phanara means his fangs, right? Ananta has fangs, unlimited hoods he has. And on each Eka Phane, on each of the hood is the entire universe, that is, he is sustaining, he is maintaining. And how those universes are is just like a bindu, is just like a drop. As Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and of course, I'm sorry. And of course, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says that bindu here means a mustard seed. So can you imagine? Just a mustard seed. So Ananta, he's holding those universes on his hoods, and those universes is just like a burden of a mustard seed. Now, what will be the burden of a mustard seed? You all well can imagine. Ananta Vikrama na jane na achehena. And he himself does not know that where that mustard seed is. Imagine if I put a mustard seed on my head, in between my hairs, I can't even feel that I'm having something, right? We cannot even feel the presence of that mustard seed. So that's how Ananta Shesh is serving, that he's carrying those universes on his hoods, and he is not even feeling that he's carrying something. Why it is so? Yes, for him it is just a mustard seed, but he is not feeling the burden because of love, because of service. Sometimes we are too exhausted, but when it comes, suppose if we have been traveling and we are so tired, and next day we come back to our home, we are super exhausted, super tired, right? But then we come to know that some Vaishnavas are coming, or my Gurudev is coming, my spiritual master is coming home. We are tired. We are super tired. It was a 1 month long vacation, maybe a spiritual vacation. But after coming back home, we are super tired. But still, if we come to know that the next day our spiritual master or some great Vaishnavas are coming, what will be our feeling? We'll feel tired? No, right? We won't feel tired. Our whole thought process is that how and what I can do so that I can serve the Vaishnavas or serve my spiritual master to the best of my abilities, right? Where that tiredness gone? Nowhere. But if next day we have to go to office, to work, or even do our household chores, we have long list of excuses that, I'm being tired, let me just linger on or postpone this, work. We have long list of excuses. But the moment when it comes to serving the Vaishnavas, we can do anything and forget about our tiredness, and we can be engaged in serving them. Why? Because out of love, we forget what all we are bearing on this body, right? We forget that. Same thing, though he is holding those universes, but those universes are just like a mustard seed for him, because he is doing out of love, that service is there, right? Mother carries a child, but she feels so tired after carrying maybe for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or an hour. She feels so tired, but she doesn't drop the child. She still carries it because out of love. This is what Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying. Now, on his head, Ananta Devi sustains this entire universe. Let's move on to next. Sahasravadane Krishna Yasha Nirantara Gaite Achana Adi Deva Mahidhara. While bearing the universe, he's not just bearing. On one of his hoods, Anantadev chants the glories of Krishna with each of his thousands of mouths. So Lord Ananta is chanting the names of Krishna also. And he's constantly doing it, right? Let's take a pause here and understand the position of Anantadev, because today, I know for past whole week, we have been understanding the position of Anantadev, and so many verses, around 40 to 45 verses that Vrindavan Das Thakur is describing, is glorifying Anantadev. Why? Because Nityananda Prabhu is his spiritual master. So Nityananda Prabhu's last disciple was Vrindavan Das Thakur. So he's glorifying his own spiritual master, who is Anantadev. So let's also, because today will be the last topic, then hopefully we'll be able to cover this entire section of Anantadev, which is another few verses. Yes, of course. But let's first understand his tattva, his position, and then, we'll move forward. So now let's pay attention, because I really need your attention and your prayers so that I may speak something relevant. But it is all, I'm reconciling it with Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and of course the purport that is being written by our dearmost Srila Prabhupada, and Caitanya Bhagavata, and also from Laghu Bhagavatamrita, which is by Srila Rupa Goswami, right? Now, I'm saying from reconciling all these three authors and, bring it up to this point. We all know that there is a Swayam Roop Krishna, and he expands into Swayam Prakash, that is Balaram, and that is what is Balaram Tattva. Now, this Balaram expands into Mula Chaturvyuha, which is Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Sankarshan, and Vasudeva. I'll not go into detail, but just pay attention for another 5-10 minutes. Now, from there, Mula Sankarshana comes Narayana. And from Narayana comes another Chaturvyuha, that is Mahasankarshan, Maha-Anirudh, Maha-Vasudev, and Maha-Pradyumna. Now that from Mahasankarshan comes 3 Purusha avatars, which is Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu, and Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Actually, it is Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Shirodakshaya Vishnu. Karanodakshaya Vishnu is Mahavishnu, who is lying on the causal ocean, and he is breathing from every pores of his body and emanating lots of universes. So these universes that is coming out from the pores of his body are just like the bubbles in the water, right? And Karanodakshaya Vishnu is lying on Anantashesh. This Karanodakshaya Vishnu then manifests himself, or from his expansion comes Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. This Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is responsible for that one bubble that is coming out from the pores of the body of Karanodakshaya Vishnu. So that means one bubble means one universe. Now this one universe has 14 planetary systems, right? The lower planetary system, Atala, Vitala, Satala, Putu, Rasatala, Patala, and then we have a middle planetary system, that is our Bhumandala. I'm not talking about only Earth, I'm talking about the Bhumandala. And then we have the higher planetary system, that is, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, Satyaloka. So these are the 14 planetary systems. And this is what is one universe. From Garbhodakshaya Vishnu's navel comes Brahma, we all know. And he further expands himself as Shirodakshaya Vishnu, who is lying in Shvetadvip in material universe as Shirodakshaya Vishnu in Milk Ocean, again on Ananta. Right? So we have 3 Vishnu, 3 Purusha avatars, Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Shirodakshaya Vishnu. And all of 3 of them are lying on a serpent, on a Sheshnag, and who is Ananta. So because these 3 are Vishnu Tattvas, similarly, their beds are also Vishnu Tattvas. The same Sankarshan, the Mahasankarshan, is expanding himself as that cozy bed on whom these Purusha avatars are lying down. So he is also a Vishnu Tattva. Okay, till that point, it's clear. Now this Anantashesh, it's just the expansion. So this Anantashesh, what Vrindavan Das Thakur we refer to, is holding these entire universes that is coming out from the pores of Karanodakshaya Vishnu. And on each of his hood, all these bubbles, all these universes are there, and they are just like a mustard seed. And he himself is singing the glories from his unlimited mouths, the glories of Mahaprabhu and the glories of Lord Shri Krishna. Okay, this time it's clear, I hope. So this Anantashesh is a Vishnu Tattva because he is the plenary expansion of Sankarshan, of Mahasankarshan, that is the second quadruple we talked about, who is coming after Narayan. Now, but our Rupa Goswami in Laghu Bhagavatamrita says, Shesho Dvidha Mahidhari Shaya Rupas Cha Saranginaha Tatra Sankarshana Aveshat Bhubhrit sankarshano mataha. What he says, Shesho Dvidha. This Ananta Shesh is actually has two forms. Which Ananta Shesh? Who is serving the three Purusha avatars as the cozy beds, or who is singing the glories of Krishna, or who is holding the entire universes, all the universes on his millions of hoods, right? They are of two types. One, he is saying Shaya Rupa. One is acting like a Shaya for all these three Purusha avatars. Of whom? Shaya of whom? Of Lord Sharangi's, means Lord Krishna. Sharangi means one who is the holder of a bow. Krishna's bow is Saranga. Tatra Sankarshana Aveshad Bhubhrit Sankarshano Mataha. Then the second type is the same Ananta. The same Ananta then manifests himself into a Bhudhari. He is holding only the Bhumandala, not the entire universe. He is holding only the Bhumandala, and means Bhubhrit, the bearer of the earth planet, only the Bhumandala. And his is a direct expansion of that. He is also an expansion of Sankarshana. And what Rupa Goswami is saying, that he is a Jiva Tattva. Okay, so the Sankarshan who is a Shaya, who is a bed, or who is holding all the universes on his millions of hoods, is not a Jiva Tattva, is a Vishnu Tattva. And he is the one who is singing the glories. And our Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes that Balaram, the main Balaram, from whom Lord Krishna expands, like Lord Krishna expands into his Swayam Prakash. The Swayam Rupa Krishna expands into Swayam Prakash, which is Balaram. That Balaram unites with Mahasankarshan, and he comes as Anantashesh. Okay, so that Balaram combines with Mahasankarshan, and he comes as Anantashesh and serves as a bed for all the three Purusha avatars. So therefore, the name Balaram, Nityananda and Anantashesh, they are interchangeably used. They are the same personality. Okay, so this is what we have to understand. So he is definitely a Vishnu Tattva, right? Now, but this Ananta, when he further expands into his plenary portion, or portions of his plenary portion, I should say, because he himself is a plenary portion, Anantashesh, but then he when expands into portion of his plenary portion, that is what the Shesha, who is holding just a Bhumandala, only the Bhumandala, and that Shesha is a Jiva Tattva. Okay, all the jivas can, the siddha jivas basically can become that shesha, that can take that form of a shesha. But the one who is reciting the glories is not a Jiva Tattva. He is a Vishnu Tattva. And there is a constant competition, transcendental competition that goes on and on between Krishna and Balaram. That we will see further. So this was the 5-10 minutes. I was thinking that if you would have paid attention, the whole tattva would make, would have been a lot more clear. So we have a lot more verses. We'll move forward. Gayanananta Shri Yashera Nahi Anta Jaya Bhanga Nahi Kuru Dohe Balavanta. So Gayanananta, he's been chanting the glories of Krishna constantly. Nahi Anta, there is no end to it. Jaya Bhanga Nahi Karu. And he has not come to that end. Jaya Bhanga means he has not come to an end in glorifying the qualities of Lord Shri Krishna. Dono he Balvanta. And both of them are unconquerable. You cannot conquer them. Like Krishna, unendingly his qualities are increasing. And Ananta Shesh, as Balaram, Ananta Shesh, Nityananda Prabhu, Ananta Shesh basically is describing the glories of Lord Shri Krishna through his thousands and millions of words and has not reached to any conclusion. Adyapiha Sheshadoya Sahasra Shri Mukhe Gayana Chaitanya Yasha Anta Nahi Dekhe. And to this day, Adyapiya, to this day, Lord Ananta is chanting the glories of Mahaprabhu, is chanting the glories of Lord Shri Krishna, and still Anta Nahi Dekhe, and still he has not found any end to it. And then Vrindavan Das Thakur is revealing, who is this Ananta? Ki are Rama Gopale Vade Lagi Ache, Brahma, Rudra, Sura, Siddha, Munishwara, Ananda Dekhiche. How merciful this competition is going on between whom? Rama, Gopale. Rama means Balaram. So now he concludes that this Ananta, whom he's been glorifying past so many verses, is Lord Balaram. Vada lagiche. There is a constant vad vivad. There is a conflict, competition, unconquerable competition that is going on between that Balaram and Krishna. That not even that Brahma, Lord Brahma, Rudra, Shiva, Sura, all the demigods, Siddha, all the Siddhas in Siddha Loka, Munishwara, all the Munis, all the sages, they all are watching it in great happiness. They are relishing this transcendental competition that is going on between Sevya Bhagwan and Sevak Bhagwan, right? Lagbali chali aya sindura taribare yasera sinduna deya kule adhika dhika bade. Lagbali. Ananta Shesh, while describing the glories, thinks that, oh, I have almost touched the ocean. I have almost crossed it. But the moment he thinks, Krishna's qualities, ocean-like qualities, expands further, and he is still in the middle of the ocean, and he's still not reached to the end. Yasera Sindhu na dekha kula. He thinks, why adhika bade? Because his glories, the ocean of Krishna's glory is increasing day by day. So no matter how much Ananta Shesh can describe the glories, he is still not reached to the shore because it's continuously expanding. Palana nimitta hana prabhu rasatale ache namaha shakti dhara neja kuhale. So what now? Here comes again the point that palana nimitta, this Ananta Shesh, just to maintain, nimitta means to become an instrument, right? But just to become an instrument for what? For maintaining. For maintaining, he has taken up this form of Ananta Shesh, and he very happily resides in Rasatal, just to maintain this universe. So to maintain this entire universes, this Ananta Shesh very happily accepted this form of Sheshanag, and he resides in Rasatala just in order to maintain this universe. Now this Ananta Shesh, who is residing in Rasatal, he is in the form of a serpent, right? So now someone can say, does he have any, four-handed form or any two-handed form, or he's always in this serpent body? So here also, let's understand what our Caitanya Charitamrita and what our Caitanya Bhagavata says. So when it comes to Bhautik Jagat, when it comes to material existence, this Ananta Shesh accepts the body of a Shesh, of a Sheshnag. He accepts. So in this Bhautik Jagat, in this material existence, his form is eternally this form of a serpent. But in the spiritual world, he has a form of a Vishnu, because he's a Vishnu Tattva. And we know the Vaikuntha, we have so many planets in Vaikuntha planets, like we have Matsya, we have Kurma, we have Lord Narsingha, we have Varaha. So there is a Varaha abode, there is an entire planet in Vaikuntha planet, which is totally dedicated to Varahadev, where Varahadev is the presiding deity. Similarly, this Anantashesh also has a Vishnu form and has its own planet in Vaikuntha, in spiritual world. And that reconciles the point when we read in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when Chitraketu Maharaj was meditating on that Sankarshana form, so he saw that four-handed form, and eternally he went home to Vaikuntha, where Lord Sankarshan or Anantashesh is actually the presiding deity, right? But when it comes to the material existence, his eternal form, his Mool Roop is that of Sheshanag. That's his service. He accepted. That's what he's saying. He nija kuhuhale, with his own sweet will, he accepted this eternal form in this material universe. Okay, I hope this is clear. In purport, actually, just a side note, because here Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying that he Hena Prabhu Rasatale, that he resides in Rasatal. But as per Sridhar Swami, he says that he actually resides below Patal. So that's just for the side note information. I just want to bring this point. But he accepts this form of a servant, Nija Kutuhale, by his own sweet will, just to serve his master, the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Brahmarasa bhayagiya narada pane, e guna gayana tumbura vinashane. Brahmara Sabhaya, in the assembly. Sabha means assembly. In the assembly of whom? Lord Brahma, Narada. Lord Narada is singing. Shri Narad Muni is singing, taking his own veena. He is singing, and the singing what? The qualities of Lord Ananta. Brahma Divi Bhalaye Yashara Shravane Iha Gai Narada Pujita Sarvasthane. Brahma Adi means Lord Brahma and all others were overwhelmed by listening to the Yashara, listening the Kirti, listening the glories of Anantashesh, Shravane, by listening or hearing the glories of Lord Ananta, they are overwhelmed. Right? And Narad Muni is worshipped everywhere. Why? Just because he's constantly chanting the glories of Anantashesh on his veena. Kahila ei kichu ananta prabhava hena prabhu nityananda karo anuraga. Very beautiful words. He is saying, Kahila ei kichu. Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying that till now I have described the glories of Anantadev. Kahila, I've been singing, I've been describing. Kichu, but now whatever I have described is just a little bit of the glories of Ananta. Yes, Ananta through his millions of hoods, through his millions of mouths, not hoods, through his millions of mouths, he is singing the glories of Krishna and not able to complete till date. But here, Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, then how can I take that position of describing all the qualities of Anantashesh? Well, I have just described a few of them, very little, a portion of it I have described. Hena Prabhu Nityananda Kara Anurag. But I wish and I plead to all the readers that till now, whatever I have described is just a portion, but hearing or reading that portion, please develop little anurag for Nityananda Ram. Nityananda is Anantashesh, right? So he's pleading all the devotees, all the readers of Caitanya Bhagavata, that please develop little bit of anurag, attachment to Lord Nityananda. Why? Samsara para nahi bhakta sagare ye dubi bete bhajuka nitai chandare. Why? Because he's saying samsara para nahi. This ocean of nescience, this ocean of material existence cannot be crossed. It's unsurmountable. You cannot cross on your own. right? But how can you cross? If you take shelter of Nityananda Prabhu, right? Those who wish to cross this ocean of material existence and want to drown in the ocean of bhakti, they have to take shelter of Nityananda Prabhu. Nitai pada kamala Koti Chandra Shashitala Echai Jagat Dubai Echai Jagat Judai He Nani Tai Vina Bhai Radha Krishna Patinai. If you want to know about Radha Krishna, you have to take shelter of Nityananda Ram. Otherwise, it's not possible. Drida kari dhare nitar pai. Therefore, this pleading, Lochan Das Thakur is pleading that please get hold of this lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu, because only when you get hold of Nityananda Prabhu, you will be able to understand what is Radha Tattva, what is Krishna Tattva, what is Balaram Tattva, what is Ananta Shesh, and then you will be able to cross over this material existence. Otherwise, Hena Neta Bene Bhai Radha Krishna Phate Nai. Without serving Nityananda Prabhu, we cannot have any attachment, any attraction towards Radha and Krishna. Therefore, Vrindavan Das Thakur is pleading that till now, whatever I have described, get hold on to it and have developed some anurag, some attachment for that Nityananda Ram. Now, as I was telling, that how come this Balaram, Nityananda, Sankarshan, Anantashesh, how come they are the same? Caitanya Bhagavata says, Dvija Vipra Brahmana Yehe Nama Bheda E Mata Nityananda Ananta Baladeva. Just as Dvija, what is Dvija? Twice born. Vipra, we all say a Brahmana is also known as Vipra and a Brahmana. These are all interchangeable names. You can say synonyms, right? They are different names, but the person is same. Similarly, Nityananda, Ananta, Baladev, they are just the different names of that same Supreme Lord, right? They are just interchangeably used. And now what he's saying, Vrindavan Das Thakur. Antaryami Nityananda Balila Kautake Chaitanya Charitra Kichu Likhite Pustake. So this Lord Nityananda is residing in the heart of Vrindavan Das Thakur as a super soul, Antaryami Paramatma. And he instructed him, Likhite Pustake, he instructed him that you go on describe Chaitanya Charitra. You please go and describe the leelas, the pastimes, the qualifications, the forms of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now one can say that how come Nityananda, Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying that in my heart is Nityananda. We know that in all our heart is who? Paramatma, right? So we have Paramatma in the heart. We all know. And who is that Paramatma? Is Shirodakshai Vishnu, who expands as a super soul and reside in the heart of every living entity, right? Now, what is that form? Now I request if someone can unmute and say, what is that form of Paramatma that is residing in the heart of every living entity, who is also known as super soul? What is the form?
Four-armed.
Four-armed form. Paneshwari Mataji is also saying four-armed form. Okay, that's it. If he is a four-handed form, then who was there in the heart of Hanuman? Was a four-handed form Vishnu?
Was Ram.
No, it was Lord Ram who was there in the heart of Hanuman. So yes, Paramatma is residing in heart of everybody, as you all said that he is a four-handed form. I do agree. But when we start developing the relationship with that four-handed form Paramatma, he takes a specific form. Like Hanuman has Lord Ram. Your mother Yashoda will have only Gopal in his heart, in her heart. That how can I serve my Gopal? My Gopal is feeling hungry. My Gopal needs, to bathe. I need to dress my Gopal. In her heart is only Gopal. In the heart of gopis is only Tribhanga Lalita Shama Sundar form. They don't care. Even if Narayan comes, they will ask, have you seen our Shama Sundar? He was right here, but we don't know where he went. He was right here with us. They paid obeisances to Narayan. But they said, can you please tell us, have you seen where our Sham Sundar has gone? Why? Because they have developed that relationship, that asakti, that anurag. And once we develop that anurag with the Paramatma in our heart, we can feel that what form of Paramatma is residing in the heart of us. That is why it is said that every living entity has their own relationship, has their own Paramatma in their heart to whom they can talk, to whom they can interact, to whom they can establish a relationship. Right? So here Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, Antaryami Nityananda. He is saying, in my heart is only Nityananda Ram. He is not a four-handed Vishnu form. He is Nityananda who is residing in my heart. And he is the one who instructed me to write Caitanya Bhagavata, to write the glories of Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya Charitra Spure Yahara Kripaya Yasera Bhandara Vaishe Sheshera Jivaya. Chaitanya Charitra, this pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, Spur, automatically they got manifested by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Right? Because his tongue is the storehouse of Lord Chaitanya's glories. Bhandara. Yasha Bhandara. Yasha means again glories. Bhandara means storehouse. Ataiva Yashomaya Vigraha Ananta Gailu Taha Kichu Pada Padma Dvandva. Therefore, Shri Ananta is the embodiment of Lord Chaitanya's glories, and thus I have described just a fragment of Ananta glories. Just Kichu, little bit I have described. Chaitanya Chandrera Punya Shravana Charita Bhakta Prasada Spure Janita Nishchita. Now Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying that Chaitanya Chandrera, one who Charitra, Chaitanya Chandrera Charitra, means those who hears the Charitra, the quality, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Chandra, the Chaitanya Chandra Deva. We'll see that in this entire Chaitanya Bhagavata, Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying Chaitanya Deva, So he's saying, hearing the pastimes of this Chaitanya Chandra Deva, it brings what? Punya. It brings all auspiciousness. Bhakta Prasada says Pure, Jani ha Nishchita. But he's saying that be careful, but know for certain that these pastimes will be revealed in the heart of a devotee only by the mercy of great devotees. So you need a mercy of a devotee for the pastimes to get revealed in the heart. Therefore, the scriptures, whatever we have, even if we read, but if we read on our own, nothing we'll receive, nothing. This is not an academic knowledge that you go and take admission in some of your colleges and some universities and you get it from the teachers. No. This, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, yes, we have to read it. Under the guidance, we do have teachers, but it will automatically be revealed. The further revelation will come on its own. That cannot be taught in any of the universities or colleges. Therefore, when we sing Guru Charana Padma, we say, Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita, right? This whole transcendental knowledge gets revealed in the heart of a pure devotee by the mercy of devotees. We'll read a few more. Veda Guya Chaitanya Charitra Keba Jane Tai Likhi Yashuniya Che Bhakta Sthane. Who can understand the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya? They are hidden in the Vedas. We all know Mahaprabhu came as Channa Avatar. So he's saying, therefore, how come I know? But whatever I have heard from my spiritual master, Nityananda Prabhu, I am just writing and putting it into black and white in this book known as Caitanya Bhagavata. Chaitanya Charitra Adi Anta Nahi Dekhi. I do not know the beginning or the end of the pastimes of Chaitanya. Yena Mata Dena Shakti Tena Mata Likhi. I'm just writing the way my Antaryami Paramatma, my Nityananda Prabhu is guiding me. I'm simply writing. Next is very, very beautiful verse. Kasthera Puthaliyena Kuhakana Chaye Ei Mata Gaura Chandra Moreye Bolai. And that's what our Prabhupada also says. Kasthera Puthali Jatha Nachao se mate Nachao Prabhu Nachao se mate. When Prabhupada was coming on Jaladuta, he wrote this poem, right? And he said that Kastera Putali, I'm just a wooden doll in the hand of you. You have given me this title of Bhakti Vedanta. I don't know how I'm going to prove, because I'm going to the West where nobody knows about Krishna, nobody knows about anything. But you have brought me to this West. So now it's up to you. Nachao, make me dance, make me dance, make me dance as you like. So we have seen all those puppet shows. There is a puppeteer. You know, the puppet has, it's no free will, no independence at all. It's just a wooden doll. But when that wooden doll is stringed and that string is being used by a person, then that string, that through that string, that puppeteer can make all the puppets dance as his own sweet will. As the puppeteer wants, he will make those puppets dance. So same Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying that I don't know anything, no end, no beginning of Chaitanya Leela. But whatever I've heard from Nityananda Prabhu, who is a puppeteer, I'm simply dancing on his tongue. Whatever I describe is only the direction of Sri Gaurachandra, my Nityananda. Just as a puppet dances only in the direction of a puppeteer, I will hereby dance. Sarva Vaishnavira Pai Kari Namaskara, Ithe Aparadha Kichu Nahu Ka Amara. Sarva Vaishnava, he's saying, now I bow down, pay my obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are Vanchakalpa, who are just like the desire trees. They can fulfill the desire of everyone, and they are compassionate for the fallen conditioned souls. So he's saying, I bow down to all those, the feet of all those Vaishnavas. Why? Ithe aparadha kichu, so that I don't commit any offense to any of them while writing this scripture. Manadiya Shuna Bhai Shri Chaitanya Katha Bhakta Sange Ye Leela Kaila Yatha Yatha. Please hear with rapt attention, Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, Manadiya Shuna Bhai Shri Chaitanya Katha. He's saying that please hear with rapt attention. Bhakta Sange Ye Leela Kaila Yatha Yatha. Hear these topics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu concerning the various pastimes that he performed with all his Bhakta Ganas. And then he says that, you know, this book is not what I am writing, right? This is not me. It is my Nityananda Prabhu who is dictating. And we know that's what our dear Srila Prabhupada used to say. Srila Prabhupada used to read his own purports. And disciples would ask, why, Prabhupada? You have written your purpose. Why you are reading? Prabhupada said, because these are not the mere purports. These are the dictation given to me by Lord Shri Krishna. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also says that whatever I'm writing in Chaitanya Charitamrita is not mine. This has been dictation given to me by Madan Gopal. Right? So these are not the ordinary scriptures. They are coming in the Spurata Leela, in the Samadhi Dasha of those great Vaishnavas. And they are literally the dictations given to them. And that's why, you know, we should really take care of these scriptures and respect them. And how do we respect them? By reading them, by studying them scrutinizingly. Last verse for today. Trivedha Chaitanya Leela Anandara Dhama. Chaitanya Leela is the abode of all happiness. Adi Khanda, Madhya Khanda, Shesha Khanda Nama. And therefore, I have divided, Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, I have divided this entire pastimes of Lord Chaitanya into three parts. What is that? Adi Khanda, Madhya Khanda, and Antya Khanda or Shesha Khanda. Right? So we'll stop here and we'll see now tomorrow what's there in Adi Khanda, what's there in Madhya Khanda, and what is there in Shesha Khanda. Because in the first chapter, Vrindavan Das Thakur will give a synopsis, an overview, what all he is going to describe in all these different khandas. So he'll give the synopsis and in the first chapter itself. And from second chapter, he'll go dive deep into various different pastimes. Okay, so we'll stop here. I know the class was, half of the class was technical, but thank you so much. With all your association, we were able to complete the decided verses. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Nityananda Ram ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Kirtida Mataji. That was a very beautiful class, so much clarity. I think you just brought all the points together and you presented it so beautifully. So thank you so much, Mataji. It was a wonderful session. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasni Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Beautiful class. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I have a question, and then as you said, the technical part it was probably a little fast, but so in the fourth canto, okay, let me go back. So you said
Fourth canto?
that no, yeah, I just have a reference to Ananta Sage. There's that chapter about the glories of Ananta.
Fifth canto.
Right? Fifth canto. No, it's fifth canto. Yeah. Yes. 25th chapter. Yeah, fifth canto. So when it talks about it says that they're glorifying Anantadev, right? And it talks about the Gandharvas. So is this when then they have first they're glorifying him in the Sesha form, and then they're glorifying his toenails and his limbs and stuff. So is this, I guess I'm a little confused. Are they referring to then the Karanodika side? Because you said the Karanodika side Vishnu is who the mustard seeds are upon, right?
No. So Ananta Shesh is one.
Yeah.
He has two forms.
Right.
One form of Shesh is like a bed, like a right?
Yes.
Another form of Ananta Shesh is one who is holding all the entire universes. What entire universes? Those universes who are coming like a bubble form from every pore of Mahavishnu, Karnodakshai Vishnu.
Okay, and is that Ananta Sesh the one that he's lying on that's holding them? Right,
No.
so Kar?
Shaya is different. That's what Lagu Bhagavatamrita says. Tesha Dveda Mahidhari Shaya Rupa. There are two roops. One is Shaya, who is acting like a bed. And then there is Ananta Shesh, who is holding these entire universes. Now, this Ananta Shesh further expands, who holds only the Bhumandala part, only the earth, not all the lower planetary system or the higher planetary system, only the earth, Bhubritdhari.
Right, he's the one who is the Jiva Tattva.
He is the one who is the Jiva Tattva.
So my confusion is, when you say the second, there's one who is the bed. So is that the Ananta Sesh that is that Karanodika Sai Vishnu is lying upon? Do you understand my confusion? When you're saying one Ananta Sesh, I'm assuming, or are all the Ananta Seshas that are holding, that are the bed of Karnodika Sai Vishnu, Garbhodika Sai Vishnu, and are they all one?
Yes, they are all one, just the expansions
of the bed in the three different.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's another one who and the other one. That's one. Then there's a Jiva Tattva, which is an expansion.
That's the same bed who is now holding on to those different universes on his hood. The form, the work, the activities too. Activities are two. Shaya and holding the universes.
Okay. That I understood. That's why I said that. Okay.
Yeah.
So when they are glorifying Lord Anantadev,
who is glorifying Anantadev?
When in the fifth canto, when they're talking about the glories of Lord Anantadev,
yeah,
and they're describing first him, the Sesh form of him, and then they're describing his limbs and his toenails. So who are they? Who?
That's what
they?
Now Anantadev, this bhautik, in this material existence, his eternal form is only a serpent form. But he has its original Vishnu form in Vaikuntha Loka.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
So they're glorifying
that Ananta. That Ananta. Like we have Arha Lok, we have Narsimha Lok, we have Matsya Lok. So we have that Shesh, Ananta Shesh Lok also. Where Chitraketu Maharaj in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam meditates and finally reaches to that abode of Ananta.
So, so that's why they are glorifying, as you said, those two aspects.
Yes.
Him in his Vishnu Tattva spiritual form, and then in the material form as a
material form, only as a serpent form.
Got it. Oh my God. Thank you so much. That clears up so many confusions. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And beautiful class. It was enthralling, and it was just
not well prepared. I was simply reading, Mataji. But thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. Very, very beautiful, Mataji. Mataji, there is one Mataji, Manisha Mataji. She wants to ask question in Hindi. Is that okay?
Yes.
Manisha Mataji, please go ahead. Let me check if I see you and I can unmute yourself.
Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. माताजी अपने स्टार्टिंग में 14 उसके बारे में बताया था ना, पाताल लोक, भूलोक, क्या आप रिपीट कर सकते हैं वो?
Yes, Mataji. So there are planetary systems, right? पहला है कि भूमंडला, सेंटर है भूमंडला, राइट? भूमंडल के बाद भूवरलोक, स्वर्गलोक, महरलोक, जनलोक, तपालोक और फिर सत्यलोक. जो सत्यलोक है वहां ब्रह्मा जी रहते हैं, राइट? और फिर भूमंडला के नीचे 7 होते हैं, जो कि अतला, वितला, सुतला, रसतला, तलातला, महातला and पाताला. Okay, so these are all 14 planetary systems. So we have to understand it's just like when you enter into a building. जब आप बिल्डिंग में एंटर करते हैं तो आप एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे एंटर करते हैं, जो को ग्राउंड लेवल बोला जाता है इंडिया में. यहाँ पे बोला जाता है फर्स्ट फ्लोर, लेकिन नीचे बेसमेंट होती है और ऊपर अलग अलग स्टोरीज होती हैं, राइट? आप किसी बड़े शोरूम मॉल में जाओ तो नीचे बेसमेंट होता है और ऊपर वो होता है different the stories are there, right? Different parts are there. So they are the upper planetary system, और जो basement है that is the lower planetary system. But अगर आपको मॉल से बाहर आना है तो क्या आप किसी भी फ्लोर पे जाके आप बाहर आ सकते हैं? नहीं आ सकते. आपको उसी मेन ग्राउंड लेवल पर आना पड़ेगा, right? Similarly, for this entire universe, this 14 planetary system, if we want to get out of it, we have to come on this Bhumandala. We have to come on this earthly planetary system in order to exit this entire universe. Okay? Hope that helps, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Gaurangi Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah, I just also want to get some clarifications about Ananta Shesha. When Ananta Shesha in Vaikunta, does he have 4 arms?
Yes, he's a 4-handed form. Everybody in Vaikuntha is a 4-handed form.
Okay, and there, his name is also Ananta Shesha there?
Ananta says Sankarshana. It's all interchangeable.
Uh-huh. Also, let me see. Okay, this name Nityananda Ram, right? How would you translate that name? The he who gives.
You know who is that?
Yeah. And
he's Balaram.
Yeah. And then so the Ram part, is that he who gives pleasure to Nityananda?
No. His name is Nityananda Ram.
Uh-huh.
He gives pleasure to everybody, whosoever recites his name.
Okay, so that's how we would translate Ram.
So it's Nityananda Ram, or even Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes Nityananda Balaram.
Uh-huh. Okay. And just to make sure I got this Chaturvyuha, succession properly, is Balaram, then Balaram expands as the Chaturvyuha, right? And then, which is Sankarshan Vasudev.
Which is Mula. Just add
Mula.
Mula Vasudev, Mula Aniruddha, and Mula Pradyumna.
Uh-huh. And then that Mula Sankarshan expands as Narayan, right? And Narayan, he expands as the Maha
Sankarshan.
Yeah, Maha. Uh-huh. Okay, great. Okay, Mataji.
Sankarshana comes all these 3 Purushavataras.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
And we don't hear anything much about, let me see, this Narayan, right? This Narayan that expands from the Mula Sankarshan
is the Narayan Vaikuntha.
So is there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets.
But the main innumerable Vaikuntha planets in Vaikuntha, and the presiding deity of that entire Vaikuntha is Lord Narayan with Lakshmi Devi.
And so in other words, I'm asking, is it one Narayan that expands in all those limitless Vaikuntha planets?
Yes, that one Narayan expands. See, because from Narayan comes what? Comes Maha Sankarshana. And from that Maha Sankarshana, all the other avatars come. Like Matsya, Narsimha, right? So in that entire Vaikuntha planet, there are small Vaikuntha planets who are dedicated to these personalities, where they are the presiding deity. Like in Matsya planet Matsya will be the presiding deity, and that Matsya will not be a fish form, that will be a 4-handed Vishnu form.
Yeah, but that's what I'm asking about actually. That Matsya in Vaikuntha, is he simply an expansion of Narayan?
Yes, it's simply an expansion of not Narayan, but expansion of that Mula Sankarshana. Okay. He expands himself into various incarnations.
In the Vaikuntha planets.
In the Vaikuntha planets.
But the Narayan that expands himself from Balaram, right?
He is charge only of this entire Vaikuntha planet. Entire Vaikuntha planet is under him. that Narayan which comes from Balara, from Moola Sankarshna.
No. I'm referring now to the Narayan that is that first expansion of Balaram, right? I'm trying to understand the relationship between that Narayan.
That Narayan is just like, see, Krishna, from Krishna comes Balaram, from comes Moola Chaturvyuha. From those Moola Chaturvyuha, the Moola Sankarshan expands into Narayan. But that Narayan is same, our Prabhupada used to say that Narayan, who is in charge of this entire Vaikuntha planet, is actually Krishna in office. Right? Just like a person who is a high court judge, his role in court will be different and his role at home will be different. When he is in his court, everybody will pay him respects, will salute him. But when the same high court judge comes home, then even the grandchildren will ride him and he'll be serving as a horse for his grandchildren. Right? So that Krishna, that Narayan, the relationship is, he is now in awe and reverence. He is now in office. He is now in his court. He is a Vaikuntapati. Right? That Narayan is Vaikuntapati. So always served in the mood of Dasya. Hope it's clear.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I have to think about something.
Yes, tell me, Gaurangi Mataji. We all are here. Preeti, can help.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that, it is.
Okay, frame your.
You know what? Maybe I just need you to repeat one more time.
Yes, frame your.
No, I understand that from Narayan comes the Moola, he expands as Moola Sankarshan. Right?
Maha.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant. I meant Maha. Okay, so Narayan expands as Maha Sankarshan, and and the rest, the Maha Chaturvyuha, right? Now, let's take Varahadev in Vaikuntha. So the relationship between Varahadev and Narayan.
Expansion.
Just expansion.
Yeah.
So they're the same person.
Yes.
And this Narayan just has different names in different Vaikuntha planets.
Different Vaikuntha planets, and the way they are holding they are four-handed.
Yes.
The way they are holding their Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. The position will be different.
Yeah.
And through the position, it has been recognized that he is Varaha or Nrsimha.
Okay. And the Moola Chaturvyuha, we don't hear too much about them, right? There's not too much written.
Yeah, there's description.
Excuse me?
Yeah, if you hear the Goloka chart, then their position is being described, but not much.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for hanging in there with me.
Hope I'm able to serve you.
Yeah, no, it's clear now. I mean, right now, it's so clear. I don't know what my confusion was.
Simple, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Harima Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, wonderful, wonderful class, simplifying such a complicated topic into very simple and simple terms and explaining it so nicely, Mataji. Dandavat pranams to your service. Mataji, I had this one simple question. First is like, is this what you said, the expansions, is this available in a chart form? So that is, it's kind of easy to memorize it and kind of visualize it, what we just discussed with Gaurangi Mataji.
Oh yes, the entire Goloka chart is there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's online and the Veda base?
Yes, I think so. Yes, Preeti Vilasni Mataji. Is she here?
Mataji, when Preeti Vilasani Mataji gave class, that class also has many PPTs.
Here the entire Goloka seminar by Pavaneshwar Prabhu. He gave the entire.
Oh yeah, of course I attended that, Mataji, but it's so technical. Yeah, I know that. Okay, Mataji, I'll look it up. And one thing I didn't understand was that how is it that the Ananta Shesh, who is holding just the Bhumandala, is a Jiva Tattva? I mean, you just explained that, but I couldn't absorb that fact, because ultimately he is an expansion of the Vishnu Tattva. Then how can Vishnu Tattva, kind of become a Jiva Tattva? Please, if you can. Huh?
Who was Parshuram? Shaktavesh avatar, right? And he's
Yeah.
Your
All
answer.
right. All right. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Parima Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. And for Parima Mataji, Preeti Vilasini Mataji also gave a class where she had explained very wonderfully the Prabhav and the Prakashas like that. So you can refer back to that. That was, I think, teachings of Lord Chaitanya's class, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Very, very, it was so clear. And Gaurangi Mataji asking you to repeat it again and again. It was even better, it was like literally imprinted. And thank you so much. It gets so difficult. And then by the mercy of the Vaishnavas like you, it gets clear again. So thank you so much, Mataji. Very, very grateful to you. And looking forward for another one. It gives us so much clarity and we can ask you again and again. So thank you, Mataji, for being so patient and giving such a wonderful class. Very, very grateful to you. So if nobody has any more questions, shall we end with the permission of Kirtida Sundari Mataji and other Vaishnavas?
If there are no questions, then surely we can end.
Yeah, thank you.
You want to say something?
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Mataji. We are not qualified to digest Sri Chaitanya Charanamrita, but by all your senior Vaishnavas, Mercy Mataji, we learn it, and now it is very easy for us for Sri Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Bhagavatam. Ananta Koti Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Day by day, it's improving our quality, Mataji. All credits goes to you and all Bhakti Sangha teachers. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So we'll offer our obeisances on behalf of Bhakti Sangha to Kirtida Sundari Mataji and all the Vaishnavas assembled. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavneveyo Vaishnaveyo namo namah antakoti Vaishnav vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Chaitanya Bhagavatam ki jai. Vrindavan Kirtida Sundari Mataji
ki jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki
Jai. Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Krishna.
Very,
Hare
very
Krishna.
wonderful clarity.
Thank you everyone for joining today's class. We'll meet again tomorrow. Hari Bol.